The original Class 43 HST in the iconic yellow-blue-grey livery will forever have its place in UK railway history. Its availability this year was too much to pass up, and hence I took the plunge with a pre-order at a lower price point than the current levels. So do these models live up to the expectations and performance in line with what we have come to expect from a modern-day Class 43 from Hornby? It's time to take a closer look. Hi, thanks for joining today's review. We'll kick off with our usual unboxing of the train pack. Then we'll get into our usual close-up views, running session, summary, scoring and final recommendation. As part of the unboxing, at the very end of that, we'll take a quick look under the hood at adding DCC to this. So we'll do that at the back end of the unboxing section. Okay, let's get underway. Okay, so here we're going to do our unboxing of this British Rail InterCity Class 43 HST. I owned one of these a long time ago. This will easily probably be the best version of this I've ever had. It's the retooled Class 43s from Hornby. So we're looking at the R30239, the usual train pack. And so we're going to open this up and take a look and see what the latest incarnation of this particular model looks like. Is it I suppose a definitive version of this? I think based on some of the retooling and the other enhancements, then it probably should be. Okay, let's open the box and see what's inside. Okay, so here we have our model. We've got our usual operating instructions here, maintenance, etc. This comes DCC ready, so unlike the other version of this, which has the DCC pre-fitted, this one you've got to fit it yourself. So I will be looking to add in probably a Bluetooth decoder into this. It's 21 pin DCC. Okay, so let's open this here, and here we've got the usual. If you're familiar with a Class 43 HST, you're going to get the usual setup here, and with the little pads at the top there, which is good. So we'll take this guy out of the box and take a look at him. We'll take a look at the power car. The plastics for the power car and the dummy tend to be identical. So once you've looked at one, it's got the usual weight, as you can expect. As I said, I've had this in the Lima version of this from many, many years ago. I haven't had one of these for a long time, actually, because I've been holding out to get the newer retooled version. But I guess it's a model when you owned it 30, 40 years ago, you want to kind of get the best version of it now that you can get. It looks very clean, and it's got the retooled rear section here, so we'll do our usual close-up views on that. There's good detail on the bogie there, actually, with some extra paintwork, as you can see there, on some of the kind of shock absorbers, etc. It has obviously the coupler at the back. Will give you the kind of close coupling capability. Now it does come with the tension lock. With the new Mark III coaches, I tend to run these all with the magnetic couplers now, because you get the best close coupling that you can get, given that you've got this kinematic coupler on all of the cars and on the coaches as well. So nice door handles, detail, separately fitted wipers. Nice lighting configuration there. It'd be kind of interesting to see the lighting has kind of been enhanced on these. It's more prototypical. We've got the dial on the tank underneath there and some extra underbody detail. We'll do the usual close-ups on this, so we'll get to see that. We've got the kind of bulkhead at the end here in the door. Overall, it looks pretty nice. The engine area there, the grills, you can't quite see through it, so you can't really quite see into that even with the lights. There isn't an awful, there's just kind of a black backing or something in behind that, because most of the center section of this is all a steel block, as people will know, and you can, and then it's all about fitting in your speakers. There isn't an awful lot of room in these, but we'll take a look at that when we're fitting the speaker. It is what I guess I was expecting. Looking for, I have the full rake of coaches to go with this, so That's what we'll be going with for the running session. And kind of looking forward to that. This is a step back in time for me and to a model I haven't owned for a long time, for probably at least 10 years since I had one of the Lima versions. And given this is the retooled version, I should expect a lot better performance. So it looks good. Dummy car is the same, so these are effectively interchangeable, apart from the running numbers will be different. And I guess the only issue you're going to encounter is how to run these, to kind of pair them, I guess, if you're going to run them together with your decoders. So I might just run this one without a Bluetooth decoder for now. I might just run a standard 21 pin DCC decoder just to run the lights, and that'll kind of do me, I think, for the running session. But yeah, it's a lot lighter, isn't it? There's a lot less going on in here, and it's actually much easier to find space for your speaker on this version on the dummy than it is on the main car. Okay, that's the out of box. We'll take a close-up look at these now, and then we'll get into the running session. Looking forward to that running. Looking forward to seeing this on the track again after so many years having it on the layout. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look inside. We're going to take the lid off here and take a look at the DCC socket with the connector. You can see there the 21 pin socket that we've got, and you can also see the configuration at the back there where we've got the two Sugar Cube speakers installed at the very back. So I haven't seen this before. It may have been on some other HST models which I haven't yet reviewed, because I've got a couple of others I'll be reviewing over the Christmas. So these are pre-fitted, even though sound isn't pre-fitted, but at least the speakers are pre-fitted, and that's very handy. All you need to do is plug in the decoder. There's no need to plug in the speakers. If, for example, if you're using either an ESU decoder or a HM7000. Now I'm using HM7000 on this. I'll be adding that in. And the other thing, when I did the running session with this and when I was doing my testing, I did not have the power pack installed. But because of the issues I found over the express points, I think it would be advisable to install a power pack in this, particularly if you're going to run it at really slow speeds and crawl type speeds. And if you've got issues with dirty track, etc., then I think you're going to need the power pack, to be honest. But I did most of my running without it, and I only found the issues. I didn't find the issues during the running session. I actually found them afterwards when I was just doing some maneuvering of the train at low speed, and did stall over the express points. And I've seen that before because it doesn't have the power pack. Okay, so let's move on and take a look at the close-up views. So the first thing we're going to do here is take a look starting at the front here. It's a very nice paintwork. The cab is basic but better than previous. You've got the nice rails there. You've got the nice underbody detail. I think the underbody detail in these has steadily improved, and as you can see it here. And going across the model, it's a well executed model. There's nice roof detail as well. We'll see that in the 360 view. And again, good underbody, kind of an enhanced rear section. So they did retool some of this section, and they also put in the kinematic coupling capability as well as part of that retooling. So it's nicely executed. Also, the wheels there have got inlays in them, so it gives you this added detail. And that actually applies to the coaches, the Mark III coaches as well. We'll see that when we review those. So here we're doing our kind of 360 view. We've got the dummy car in here as well. We can see the bulkheads at the back here. Well, when I compare these to earlier incarnations, they are probably the best renditions of this particular model that I've seen from Hornby, or Lima as would have been previously. They've got the best level of detail, they've got the best level of functionality, there's no doubt about that. They've got enhanced lighting as well. Overall, appearance-wise, I'm quite pleased with these. I think they've done a good job on them. They've been steadily, incrementally improving them, and the 2022 retool certainly did that. So we'll get into our running session. So we're going to start off pretty quickly here and get into it. And we've also using the Era 7 coaches as well. So these are the most recent coaches connected here, and they're all magnetically coupled. Now, just a note, I guess, I did have a runaway on one of the coaches. The train did split probably around between 65-70% power. At that kind of speed level, I got a runaway between the first two coaches. They're using the out-of-box magnetic couplers, so I did have to swap those with another one of the magnetic couplers from Hornby. and that seemed to solve the problem, and I didn't get a runaway after that. So just be aware of that. If you're running these, you may need to do that. In general, the performance is what you'd expect if you've ever owned one of the retooled from 2010 versions of the Hornby Class 43 HST. That's this kind of level of running performance you're getting. It's been consistently good. It's good at the low end, and it's very good at the high end. These are real flyers, and they've got some fantastic acceleration. There isn't 100% linearity in terms of the speed versus power, but it's not drastically bad, and at the top end it does meet its prototypical speed and exceeds it. So that's good. And I'll say with the power pack on board as well, it'll just give you that extra assurance, I think. So I would kind of recommend that. So we're getting up to kind of running at the top prototypical speed, not the top speed that this is capable of. And it just goes through this without any problems. It's a flyer, there's no doubt about it. There's a huge kick in these models that very few other models have, I would say, and that makes it a very pleasurable experience. So if you do like to run your trains at a speed. So we're just going to slow her down now. I'll say these are running under Bluetooth control right now. I'm with the HM7000 decoder. Now, again, the speakers, those Sugar Cube speakers don't give the best sound in the world. So I would have historically run these with iPhone speakers, and I think feedback on the running session and, you know, my own view of it as well is I think the Sugar Cubes are never great. They don't give you enough bass, unfortunately, and you get a more of kind of a whiny sound out of them. There is room to put in iPhone type speakers in there instead, so I think that might be something to look at. And maybe just take the Sugar Cubes out of circuit. You'll just have to maybe do a little bit desoldering to do that, but I think that would be worthwhile. Okay, let's get into the summary. So we've been looking at the Hornby R30239 British Rail Class 43 HST train pack, and it's the original Era 7 version of this. So it is the original of the species, so to speak, not the Era 11 LNER version, which was available, I think, a year or two ago. So as with all of the these models, they come in a 5-pole skew-on motor with all-wheel drive and all-wheel pickup and minimum radius 2 curves, and that's common to pretty well every Class 43 HST you can buy these days. These ones are the retooled versions, so they come with the kinematic NEM pockets with tension lock couplers pre-fitted, and I used magnetic couplers in this, so you don't get magnetic couplers with the train pack, but so you'll just have to swap out, get your own and add them in. They are 21-pin DCC ready. Again, that's the retooled versions are these, and they've got the enhanced lighting, directional cab and day-night lighting. Now, an added feature which I haven't seen on some of the earlier retooled versions, these ones have dual Sugar Cube speakers pre-fitted, and there is a HM7000 profile available, and I did use that during the running session. The top scale speed tested was 135 miles per hour at 80% power, and there's more in the tank, so if you did crank up the power, you would get faster speeds. Obviously not prototypical, but you can run this at faster speeds, so there is extra power in this locomotive if you need it. Which is good, I think, if you're looking at things like inclines and stuff like that, where you may need some extra power from the locomotive. That was running with the power car on its own, and that gave a peak current of 340 milliamps. Unboxed weight for the power car is 512 grams, dummy car 190 grams, which are both kind of on the heavier side for this type of model. And the selling price, again, unfortunately, is on the heavier side. Anything running between $329.99 up to $394.99 at the RRP. And you'll most likely see this at probably the kind of mid-range discounted price, which is around $350, $360 range. Unfortunately, they are selling out. So I think the amount of time you're going to see them at those reduced prices is very, very limited. So as of December 2024, very few retailers still have this available. So unfortunately, and you may have to go to eBay in the future. The weighted scoring, the running performance is a 9 out of 10. It's extremely good, and they do run to their top speed, prototypical speed and beyond. The only main issue is they don't have a stay alive capability out of the box. This is a common problem. All of the HSTs suffer from this problem. And as a result, it can stall on dirty track, and it can stall and did stall for me over my InStillFrog express points. And that's just one of my tests, and it fails it every time, unfortunately. That's only doing a low speed crawl over such a point. Obviously at speed you wouldn't notice it. You can resolve that obviously if you use the HM7000 with a power pack connected, or if you're going to go with the ESU decoder, etc., and with a power pack. So unfortunately they don't have it built in. Appearance and details, a 9 out of 10. I think it's very good. I think they've steadily improved the appearance on these, and you could even argue a little bit more. Things like the cab, for example, could do with a little bit more, though it isn't bad, but it's certainly not up to the same standard as, say, an Acura scale, class 31 or class 66, for example. It's not in that same level, but still the overall execution of the appearance I think is still very good. Extras and variants again are very good. There is no fitted driver, unfortunately, which is a pity. That would have been nice to get that, but overall it's a pretty well equipped model. This one doesn't have the fans, the rotating fans. Wouldn't be prototypical, but you will get that on the later models, and we'll see that on some other models that I'll review over the next few weeks. Build quality is a 9 out of 10. Historically, I've only really had one issue with one of these that needed to be returned, and in general they seem to be pretty good. Can get more things going wrong with them, but in general the build quality I find is good on these. But again, if you've had issues, please let us know in the comments. Packaging and documentation is a 9 out of 10. It's not quite up to the DAPL Acura scale type standards, but it's certainly adequate for what you need. It does cover what you need, and I think the packaging is certainly sufficient, and I've never really seen issues with the packaging in terms of damage to models, etc. So I think it's okay on that front. The price value, however, is where this model probably falls down the most, and I think anybody talking about Hornby HSTs today, I think the price will be a big issue and top of mind. At the kind of discounted level of 350, 355, I'm giving it a 2 out of 10 because it's just atrocious. I mean, this does not have sound on board. It does not have a stay alive capability on board, and we're paying £350 retail. If you're paying the full RRP, that's the best part of £400. So I think Hornby are obviously using their monopoly position here in terms of this specific locomotive type. There is no competitor to it, and hence they're basically charging as much as they can get away with. This is really at the edge now in terms of affordability. It's really expensive, to be honest, and if you add in the full price coaches as well, it makes for a very expensive train. So the overall score is 7.7, and if you take the price value piece out, it's actually a 9 out of 10 because it's a decent model. It's a very good model, so it's a 9 out of 10 model, but it's let down by this horrendous price, unfortunately. So let's get into our final recommendations. So in general, the retooled HSTs from Hornby, and I have covered one of them already, the East Coast version last year, I covered that with its coaches. These have been very well executed, and I think all of the improvements have been definite improvements, and they make these the best HSTs that Hornby has ever delivered. All the current ones are the best. They're best appearance-wise. Performance is equivalent to the previous ones. In terms of features and capability, the lighting has been enhanced. They visually look better. They've got the kinematic coupler capability now, so you can close couple them with magnetic couplers, all that kind of thing. And they've got the rotating fans on certain models as well. So these are the best looking and the best functioning Class 43 HSTs that we've ever had. So I think that's the first thing to say. I've no qualms from a model perspective recommending this. I think the price is the issue. With the revised pricing from Hornby, these are horrendously expensive now. Most of them have sold out, so it's likely that if you're going to be purchasing one of these in the new year, you're going to be relying on eBay or some other second-hand source for this, which means it's likely to going to be expensive. Even if it's second-hand from somebody like Rails, for example, or somebody like the Model Centre, they'll likely be charging the full price for it, the full RRP level price for it, even as a second-hand model. So you can expect that because this has sold out now pretty well from all the retail channels. That's an issue. In general, I would say if you can see them discounted, then keep your eye out. But unfortunately, you're probably not going to get this one discounted, as I say, because it has sold out. So it is worth considering. Obviously, if you're a keen modeler of the Era 7 and wanted to have a HST and wanted to have the best HST from that era, this is it. along with the coaches, which I'll cover in the next review. I'll do a quick review of the coaches to follow up on this. They are the best that you can get. They're superior to what went before them, in my opinion. Unfortunately, if you are really big into the era and you want to have this model, then you're going to have to figure out some way of getting over the price aspect. It is too expensive though, however, and the lack of competition in terms of HST for 00 gauge is an issue. Maybe it's time that one of the other vendors said it would make sense to take the plunge and go with the HST. That's up to them from a business perspective, obviously. So it still is worth considering. Obviously, it's a fine model, so I don't have any issues as a model. You can rectify things like the stay alive capability, for example, that can be easily rectified. Obviously, the price may be more challenging to overcome. So please let us know your own thoughts in the comments on this model. If you have one of them, how is it running for you? Are you pleased with it? You know, I will be covering a range of class 43s of a number more that I want to cover. I'm going to do the InterCity executive version, which is a little bit different because it does have sound built in and it's probably slightly better value as a result. So we'll cover that one in the new year, and I'll also be covering the Platinum Jubilee version and the Midland Pullman version in that very attractive blue livery. So they will get covered in the new year, and I'll be covering both the coaches and the HSTs of those, and I'll probably do them in a single review because you're only going to purchase them together in most cases. So I'll probably cover those off in a single review for the Platinum version and the Midland Pullman version. So watch for those. They're all effectively part of the same ancestry as this particular model. So we will focus on the visual aspects and any other differences when we look at those. And it'll be just interesting to see them running on the track as well. Okay, so that's it for today. Hope this review was of use. Please drop a like if you did find it of use, and leave your comments down below. So in the meantime, take care, happy modeling, and if this is the last video of mine that you reviewed before Christmas, I want to wish you and yours a very enjoyable and peaceful Christmas, and we'll hopefully catch up with you over the Christmas on one of these other reviews, and I will be doing my usual kind of end of year wrap up as well for the models that I covered this year. So I'll expect to have that coming up just around the New Year timeframe. Okay, thanks for watching today, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay.